Hello everyone, and welcome to another Summer 2013 Case Closed edition. My name is Alan, otherwise known as Hisui.
And I'm Kate, otherwise known as Narataki.
We are from ReverseThieves.com, where you can get this, as well as the Speakeasy podcast and upcoming S.W.A.T reviews.
This time we are looking at Gatchaman Crowds from Tatsunoko Studios, and it is streaming on Crunchyroll.
That was definitely not what you expected from Gatchaman, I will say.
Certainly, it lived up to the first episode of being really not like Gatchaman or anything that you ever even really think about it, except for them being superheroes that, help people, and it's very vaguely related. But if it wasn't called Gatchaman, you wouldn't even relate the two, Or
you'd soon assume that somebody on staff really likes Gatchaman, because they occasionally throw out Gatchaman references.
The ending, as we were watching it, and then there's the end, and then there's the credits, and then there's the little,
last few seconds.
Yeah, and that was just weird. And, really strange note to leave things on, I thought. But the rest of it, I was kind of surprised because throughout the series, social networking, Galax is this really integral part of the series, and it seems like up to a point, it's shown kind of negatively, it's having this bad impact, and it seems good at first, but then, it just sort of devolves, and things aren't going very well. And so at one point I thought, it's a little bit of a commentary on social networking and things like that. But then, at the end, it seems like a grand celebration of social networking.
Well, I think...
Not that that's also bad, it was just, I was surprised.
But I feel like in the end, the Prime Minister and everybody's mentioning that, yeah, it helped there, but now they have, it's almost kind of a weird reflection of our understanding of the internet. Wow, the internet first started off as this really obscure thing that only a few people knew about. Then it kind of grows into the internet is the greatest thing ever. And then, oh my god, the internet, what, evil demon have we unleashed on the world? And then it kind of the feeling that I got was, yep, it's here, and it does lots of good stuff, and there's also some bad stuff, because the end also kind of has, well... Yeah, it did help in that one big incident, but now it's kind of out there and making problems as well as fixing things.
I did get that, and also, I see what you're saying, Al. It's almost a timeline of our interaction with it, because you're right at the end, sort of when the Prime Minister is almost taking responsibility of making decisions out of his hands, and then saying I'll see what the social network thinks of my decisions, almost on that micromanaging level of social. Yeah, it was interesting. I guess it points it out a lot, but I did feel as though it ended mostly positively. Not that it shouldn't. I mean, I don't know. But I feel like it's kind of surprising, because a lot of things that take a hard look at the where we're going with Facebook and things like that, I think usually end very negatively, or you see a very negative impact. And here, I thought it was mostly positive. And then because even the mayor stuff, I took it seriously, but in a way it was kind of jokey.
Yeah.
It was like, ha 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 ha, you leave up your decisions to Galax. No, that's bad. Internet aside, the actual character, obviously, if you've watched any of this show, you know that Hajime is this force of nature. She really sweeps everybody along in what's going on.
And she kind of defines the show. Every reaction I've ever seen of the show, even if they discuss other parts of the show, that always then ties back into Hajime. People either love her or hate her, and then they have some secondary opinion on the show.
I think it would be very difficult to watch the show if you hated her, because she's the driving force of the series.
Well, I think it's just people, because we all know this, people who hate her who just watch it because they hate her so much.
Right, yeah. That's different people's MO. But I guess I meant to say it's hard. It would be impossible to enjoy the show if you hated her, I feel like. There's some interesting concepts going on, but like she's such a driving force that's almost irrelevant to your first reaction is how do you feel about Hajime? And I really liked her. I thought that she had all of this energy, that she sweeps everything in the series. She makes people think, and she has all this positivity, and I liked that they didn't sort of degrade that positivity as the series went on, and like, you have like a dark and horrible past, or like, or that it's fake, or like, I appreciated that they didn't do that, but also, she overwhelms the rest of the cast. And obviously, you know, every series usually has like a main character, but in this case, it seemed like they were going for an ensemble feel, and it ended up with half of the cast being bland and pretty like personality-less, and versus Hajime, who was just like this.
It's like everybody kind of got, other than the blonde guy, kind of got a small arc, but just, it was constant, even then. It was Hajime. You know, Odi got a little here, or Paime got a little here, or Utsu got a little here.
But the show revolves around her, so it's, in a way, it's everybody's relation to her, even in their own arc. It's how does she help them, and what does she bring to their life. So, it's Hajime Crowds. But I really liked Odi. I thought that he was an interesting character throughout the series, and if anybody's personality was able to stand up to Hajime, it was his. I was a little disappointed though that the end throughout the series, I think you're kind of waiting to find out like what happened. Okay, what's his power? You know, because it's all about him suppressing it and saying like I'm not going to do this. You know, things have happened, and I felt like it was rushed at the end. That sort of piece of the story.
I feel that his passing of the torch was important, and it almost seems like if there was a second series, Rui kind of taking his note will be extremely important. But we never really see any of that. Would only if this got a sequel or any kind of continuation. As for now, that's just kind of the torch was passed, and obviously he's grown as a character, but we don't really see any large developments other than him finally kind of getting the note doesn't really change what he can. It's almost more of this like boost to his self-confidence that lets him finally, kind of do the thing that indirectly defeats Bird Katse, but in a way, like, as we've seen, just directly pounding into him doesn't work. You have to do that indirect defeat of him.
Bird Katse was weird, so creepy throughout the whole season. Very, very surprising character, I feel like. I mean, it's almost like not really a character. It's an embodiment of something. It's not really, never really like a character who like does things besides cause trouble or or has some sort of life. That's not really.
Well, I felt like he was just supposed to be super troll.
Oh my god, that's so true.
Because this whole thing is to just mess with the world and basically make everybody miserable because of all the chaos. He is like the ultimate troll who does it in real life.
You hit the nail on the head with that one.
And how do they defeat him in the end? By nobody paying attention to him, except for the one person.
You're right. You are totally right.
Except for the one person who doesn't care. Like, that's so funny. No, you're supposed to be mad when I troll you. Oh, you're hysterical.
That's the perfect place to go out on, Al. I liked it, but I think
it's such a weird show that it's almost more a strange art piece that you can kind of be like, well, that was definitely different, as opposed to, this is a brilliant masterpiece that, you know, shall define Gatchaman for ages.
Well, I think not for sure, but I think it is worth seeing. It's unique. So I liked it. I didn't love it. You know, I had some issues with it, but I definitely think it's worth watching.